what I have been trying to accomplish since 1980, to make it cool to care. And that's why I created all the education programs, all the books that foster empathy, wrote the songs, have music videos, all to make it cool to care. Because the last thing we need is more apathy and indifference, or, just simply not knowing what's happening. The vegan products goes, then it's become more cool to care with vegan products. So in that area, I think there's been great change. So, consideration, or the fact that the student realizes that we are one species among many on the planet is often something that they need to learn. So we're not only helping the teachers to achieve what they need to, but also, of course, the students to learn more. And it's all free. 42% of households in America, in the United States, have plant milks in their fridge.
Welcome to the Better Life for Animals podcast, where we amplify the voices of animal advocates, sanctuaries, and changemakers working toward a kinder, more compassionate world. Through powerful stories and expert insights, we shine a light on the efforts to rescue, protect, and advocate for animals. Be sure to subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. Every follower helps us reach more people. And support animal sanctuaries. Enjoy the conversation.
Susan Hargreaves is a trailblazing animal advocate, educator, and activist with over 40 years dedicated to humane education and empowering individuals to take action for all species. As the founder of Animal Hero Kids, she inspires and equips young people to be changemakers in the fight against animal cruelty. Her work has been recognized by global icons like Jane Goodall, Michelle Obama, and Paul McCartney, and has been featured in major media outlets and award-winning documentaries. An accomplished author, Susan's book, Veganza Animal Heroes, became a #1 Amazon new release, and she continues to spread her message through speaking engagements, activism, and the cruelty-free education programs. With a vision of creating an educational center that fosters compassion, she remains committed to making the world a kinder place for animals. Susan, it's so nice to have you on. Thank you for being on the podcast. You have been an animal activist for over 40 years, which I just find amazing. In 2020,
yes, since 1980. So, but I was 7 at the time.
That's true.
I wasn't 7.
Good point. You started in the cradle.
No, I wasn't.
Do you think, though, in 2025 that you see more signs that it's becoming cool to care?
Oh boy, that expression, cool to care, is exactly what I have been trying to accomplish since 1980, to make it cool to care. And that's why I created all the education programs, all the books that foster empathy, wrote the songs, have music videos, all to make it cool to care. Because the last thing we need is more apathy and indifference, or, just simply not knowing what's happening. So I think as far as the vegan products goes, then it's become more cool to care with vegan products. So in that area, I think there's been great change. I think as far as fur goes, we actually did a lot of steps forward for that. But
Absolutely.
Now lately, I've been seeing some younger people wearing fur that may not know, because they are too young to remember all of the fur protests that we used to have. And so I think there's no, black and white answer for that. No, for the being cool to care. We still all have to be aware that people are not educated, and it's not because they're mean or they want to be cruel, it's just because a lot of times they simply don't know and they haven't thought about it. And that's where animal hero kids come in, and also be an animal hero. So be an animal hero, we're also doing business as that. So people aren't thinking, oh, that's not a message for me. I'm not a kid. I don't like kids or whatever. So that's why we're doing be an animal hero. And so it's so ironic that you said cool to care, because we have a Heart Whisperer film that Sean Munson, from the Earthlings director, creator, created, and that's what he thought at one time, that it should be called, the film, Cool to Care. So isn't it funny how you've also think, in that way?
Well, I think it takes courage. And
Mhm.
as a young person, you're trying to fit in.
Yeah,
And peer pressure is never greater than when you're an adolescent and teenager, right?
right.
So we need to and I think you're just doing a beautiful job in allowing them to care about compassion. You're showing them the way, in a
That's
world that
right.
in many ways can seem very, very violent and scary at this time. But, we have to continue to have hope and, shine the light. And as you said, if you're too young to know about what animals, go through when you're wearing fur, it's time to remind them once
Yes,
again. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, we have to just keep on going. And
Yes.
that, I don't know if you can hear that squeaking, but there's a dog that I recently rescued that was thrown out of a moving vehicle. And now Pinky is okay and happy, but she wants to be in my office all the time. And if she's not in my office, she'll scratch at the door, which will interrupt. But I didn't realize she had a squeaky toy, so you can sort
Well,
of
the
hear that
squeaky
squeak.
toy is, and she is welcome,
So
No, not a worry here. Well, let's talk about I have to say, the fact that you've been doing this for all this time, and you're just steadfast in your message, and you don't back down, and yet I just find the perseverance in your personality to be so inspiring. What keeps you going?
well, that sometimes I think it's actually a form of post-traumatic stress syndrome
Mm.
that we get when we truly realize what's happening to animals, what's really happening. And our sometimes our mind just can't wrap itself around the fact that each of these animals are individuals with as much personality as Pinky, who's playing with her squeaky toy. And once we realize it, it's like opening Pandora's box. You can't forget it. And if I'm not doing something constructive where I feel like it's effective, then I don't sleep properly. And I don't think I'm alone in that. I think a lot of people who are aware of what's happening and know that it needs to stop aren't necessarily good sleepers, and they're accused of being obsessed by their family, which I am all the time. It's something you can't forget. But you have to do something about it. Like any injustice that anyone feels, I'm against all injustice and cruelty, no matter if they're two-legged, four-legged, fin-furred, or feathered. Humans too. We're all connected. We're all animals. And once you realize that you actually can make a difference, because we can, individuals can, then it's impossible not to.
I hear you, Susan. I personally, I spent some time feeling very depressed about this sad state of affairs, and what could I do about it? How could I, because that's not helping animals, But what could I do to actually help animals is to do something like write books about it, speak on it, speak about compassion, and also to do even this podcast, because I'm of the opinion, we don't have enough people speaking up. We need more people. We need more of everyday, ordinary, doing other things people to also speak up and exhibit and model compassion. So people, you are like my shining light. So thank you for that, Susan.
Well, I think we all do need each other, and we do have to remember that.
Yes.
And be also kind with each other too, where let's say, for instance, someone comes up with an idea and I don't think it's the best idea. I'm not going to tell them that unless it's really, damaging. It's up to them what they come up with. I think sometimes we're too critical of each other, and that's a human thing. So we also have to remember that everyone is trying to help in their own way. They're using their skills and their ideas. And the last thing anyone needs is someone on the same side coming over and saying, "Oh, that's dumb," or "That's not
Right.
going to work," or, "Oh, I thought," like dissent or criticism.
Because
Obviously,
in one way or another, we're all doing the best that we can with
right.
what tools we're working with at that moment.
Yes, and you never know what someone's going through
No.
at home, at maybe family is not supportive, or maybe they're in a relationship that's abusive, or they're getting bullied in high school for being vegan. And then we just have to be aware that everyone, you never know what they're going through. So to be kind to everyone, and not
Absolutely.
dismissive or critical.
You're listening to Better Life for Animals podcast. Our mission is to amplify the voices of animal advocates, sanctuaries, and changemakers working toward a kinder, more compassionate world. But we can't do it alone. We need your help. First of all, go ahead and subscribe to this channel wherever you're watching or listening. And then get involved by visiting betterlifeforanimals.com. That's betterlifeforanimals.com. Be sure to check out our blog, learn more about incredible sanctuaries, and explore our book section, where 100% of net proceeds from book sales are donated to sanctuaries. Every action you take helps to make a difference. And remember, subscribe to this channel. And now, back to the show.
Well, speaking of great ideas, you created the Veganza book series, which features characters who save animals. And also, I noticed you learned to cook vegan meals. That's
Yes.
such a cool combination. What
Yes.
motivated you to combine those two events, activism and cooking, into a children's book series?
Well, and since 1980, I've been doing school presentations, and it's all about engaging people, youth, and also allow the schools allowing me in. They need to not be threatened, and they need to know that I'm not going to be inappropriate or critical, or so Veganza Animal Heroes series with Veganza characters is the way to do it. First of all, the name is Veganza. So you can't, it's like an elephant in a room, or a cow in the room, where a lot of times people may not want to hear about what's happening to the cows, or they may not want to hear about going vegan. They may just want to hear about being kind and helping all animals. But they don't realize that going vegan is being kind and helping all animals yet. So the name Veganza, I really thought about for a long time, because you can't criticize someone for saying their name, or you're in. So the first book in the series you can see here, and
There she is.
there's Veganza, and her superpower is to freeze scenes of cruelty, and the person who is being cruel feels what the animal feels.
Oh.
And then Veganza goes into the perpetrator's ear and gives another idea. Like for instance, in this first book in the series, there was a hunter that was about to shoot a bear, and Veganza froze the scene and said in the ear of the hunter, maybe you might want to help wildlife by having a wildlife ambulance, or so then when they wake up from the they're like, oh my God, what am I doing? Because they now have empathy. They didn't have it before. And now they also have an idea that they think is their own, and they go and help animals instead of harm them. So that's Veganza Animal Heroes superpower. And that's Lovey on there. That was my little vegan
Oh,
dog
yes.
who died at 23. Here she is.
Oh,
And she was she would come to schools with me. She just loved it. Pinky is not as happy to be in a vehicle after her history, so she doesn't come to schools with me. But we also have a mermaid superhero. So the mermaid superhero, her name is Courage, and Courage the mermaid is friends to all swimming creatures, and she liberates captive animals from aquariums, leads them home, and she, gets rid of hooks. She melts hooks, and here is Courage, sort of, and Mermaid and Veganza here, and
so they collaborate.
yes, they do. They collaborate. And then somebody said to me after this first book, what about men superheroes? What about boys? Boys want to be superheroes too. And I thought, well, they're absolutely right. So Corinne Sutton, who's a vegan professional bodybuilder that's been volunteering with our charity since 2016, I said, I've just written a teen book, a graphic novel, and you're in it as Freedom.
Oh.
So there's Freedom. You can sort of see. And so we actually dress up as the Veganza heroes in our costumes and go into schools and delight, engage, and really convince without actually being preachy people to reconsider, who they may be harming when they shop. But we do it all in a way that is very positive.
I see that. So these books are for elementary, middle school, high school, all of the
Yes.
above?
Well, we've got two that are picture books. The
Okay.
Veganza Animal Hero Guide to Save Animals and the Earth is the newest book. And I've actually given them all away, or else I would give you a sample. Maybe I'll send you a sample that you can insert here.
Okay,
here.
great.
And and then this one is for teens, really.
Okay.
And this is the graphic novel that we actually launched at the Dublin SPCA in Ireland.
Okay.
And we're on the front page of the Dublin Live News in our costumes saying,
Wonderful.
and they were very positive. First vegan superheroes, world's first vegan superheroes series books, that are actually helping animals. So they loved it, and the media love it, which is, of course, part of the battle, because you want to get the message out to more and more people.
Yes.
And what is good about this one is it has a place for new vegans. Each one has vegan recipes. Sometimes they're vegan recipes that were in the story, and then they're in the back. And then we also have like replacing animal products, how to replace animal products. So it's not really hard to go vegan, but people don't know that. It seems daunting. But all they have to do is replace, not reduce or take away, but just replace. And once you realize how easy it is, then it's easy. Then we have the top 7 answers to the frequently asked questions.
Okay.
That, people ask you all the time once you become vegan, what the answers are.
So this information is going to get to the parents as well.
Yes. And what I like about this one is there's a foster group home teen in it. You can sort of see her right here.
I do.
As the character. And her name is Phoenix. and she is in a foster group home because of domestic violence. And it's not really a children's story. It's more of a, a graphic novel, like teens and up.
Okay.
And what is really the reason I created Phoenix as a character is because a lot of the free programs I do are in foster group homes.
Okay.
And it's very good for them to see a character that they can relate to. And yet she becomes like a phoenix. She helps the Veganza animal heroes. They end up liberating Lolita, the orca from the Miami Seaquarium, in one of the stories. So
that'd be nice.
Yes. And so it's 3 in a series. And then also there's this one, which I woke up with a poem in my head.
Beautiful.
And there's a cow in my dreams.
Oh, I love it.
And so in a half an hour, I just wrote the poem that was in my head. And then Monique Martinez is the illustrator for most of the books. And the most recent one was Choice Bison. He's known as Choice Art on Instagram.
Okay.
And Monique was a self-taught artist, or is a self-taught artist, I should say.
The illustrations are magical. They're just magical.
Magical. And
so it sounds like you're covering young children all the way into young adulthood and beyond. Yes. Do you find that you have to work around parents that are resistant to their children getting this message?
No, actually, I don't. It's because of the way that the message is presented.
Okay. So that's key.
Yeah. And it's about fostering self-esteem, and it's about encouraging positive characteristics, consideration, empathy. And it's about a lot of times reaching the benchmarks that the schools need to reach in order to complete their curriculum. So, consideration, or the fact that the student realizes that we are one species among many on the planet is often something that they need to learn. So we're not only helping the teachers to achieve what they need to, but also, of course, the students to learn more. And it's all free.
Yeah.
And it's all free, and then each school gets a copy for their library of each book that's 5 books altogether.
That's wonderful.
Yes, and it's all about helping all species. And this is where a lot of kids have helped animals. And this is a girl that didn't want to auction off her 4-H project. And so we have all kinds of children that help animals. You can sort of see here, I had a summit one time where we united them all together. There's Lovey right there. So this is actually over 300 pages. It's full color, and it is activity ideas and did you knows and classroom projects. And in the middle, it's all vegan recipes in the middle of it, and vegan recipes from the kids who are in the book.
So this is a book to help educators.
Yes, and activists, like people that may want to tell stories in their local library. Some of these stories are like this one, how Stella got her groove back. And it's all mainly it's children and teens that I have met that I've actually awarded for being an animal hero.
And am I right that some of the children that you met early on have actually grown up and they now help you? They've worked with you?
Yes, there was I do a lot of schools, and I got a call one day, and a mother wanted to volunteer, and I said, great. And I always ask how people learn about us. And she said, you went to my son and daughter's school. He was in kindergarten in Miami Beach, and he turned vegan after, and so did my daughter. And she was in grade 5, and he was in kindergarten. And I said, oh, great. And what is he doing now? How old is he now? And she said, he just graduated from film school in New York.
Mm.
And I said, oh, what kind of film does he do? He does claymations.
Oh.
Well, now we have a claymation. Thanks to him. That's the Veganza Animal Hero claymation, and I can give you the link if you wanted to.
Absolutely.
Put it anywhere. Yeah.
Yes. And I love how it all comes around.
It does. It
Yes.
does. Yeah, we never know the effect that we might be having when we talk to people. A lot of times people don't contact us back and say, hey, do you remember 25 years ago you came into my school and now my whole family is vegan? Or a lot of times you don't get those letters. Sometimes you do, though.
Do you cover the whole country with your books? Are there areas you're everywhere?
It's actually global. So,
Global.
and I'm really glad you mentioned that, because if people on Amazon could go and give a positive review on the books, that would be very helpful.
Okay.
Because we're a charity, and we don't want to put money to advertising the books.
Okay.
And if people review it, then it puts it further up on the choices when people go to Amazon. And of course, all the profits go directly back into the education programs.
So this sounds like a book like every parent should have. Yes.
A lot of times, depending on the age, and if that's a male or a boy or a girl, I will, prescribe certain books, like the Veganza Animal Hero, the first one, it's all women superheroes. So, it's great for young girls. Now, the Veganza Animal Hero Guide to Save Animals on the Earth, we have added a new character. So now there's 4.
Okay.
And that's Wilder. And thank you to Joaquin Phoenix for allowing us to use his image, his face, for the new character. So I'll send you a picture of that you can insert.
Well, celebrity certainly does help get that message out, and good for you for working with everyone, including the big names in our cause.
Yeah, whatever works. And
whatever works.
And if they have a larger, Billie Eilish's mom, her recipe is in the Veganza Animal Hero Guide to Save Animals on the Earth, and many others that are well known. So people love that. People love that sort of thing. And it's back to what you said at the beginning. It's making it cool to care.
Yes. So what do you think is going to happen in the next 5 years? Do you have like an optimistic picture? Because we're changing the narrative one person at a time, but what kind of progress can you imagine 5 years from now?
Do you mean in the United States, or do you mean in the world, or?
Well, let's start with the United States.
I envision more vegan food, in spite of the pushback and the misinformation that the meat industry is paying PR people to get out there. So in spite of that, it is sort of like a door that's been opened that can't be shut again. Once people try vegan things, learn about vegan things, tell their family, oh, have you tried this? Have you tried that? 42% of households in America, in the United States, have plant milks in their fridge. That people are finding that they're feeling better with it, and that it is healthier. And they're not going to believe someone coming along, saying that it's not, when they've learned themselves already that it is, and that eating more vegan is definitely making them feel better. So I envision more vegan products, more eggs, vegan eggs. So I envision strides there, and it also becoming more affordable as well because of the larger market making more. So I could see it becoming more affordable. I mean, it already is, let's face it.
Absolutely. And since we're all connected, what do you think about the globe globally?
Well, it helps. It really helps when celebrities come forward. That's a global message where they will say that something is not right and that they've learned something. So I think that helps. I struggle still with affording the books, and I'm a volunteer. Our organization is all volunteer. We're a nonprofit, and to compete with the 4-H Club and Future Farmers of America and Fairlife, who has actually a farm for kids to come on so they can learn in big field trips, that
Oh,
it's better, that it's safer if you separate the baby from the mother. It's safer. So they, as I want to be optimistic that we are going to grow, but that will only happen if people like me and organizations like mine that are really in the schools, reaching the mainstream population with messages that they can get behind. We have to be supported.
well,
And
I think what you're doing is amazing, and that is my goal, is to get the word out and help people like yourself any way that I can. So how can we help you? I heard that we should like your books on Amazon. I think we should probably buy your books. That would be great.
that would be good.
And you know, I think every parent should consider this program for their children, whether they're seeing it in the schools or not. What else could we do to help you, Susan?
Thank you for asking that question. If you go to beananimalhero.org or animalherokids.org, there's so many ways that you can help on there. You could volunteer. I always need help if you are a photographer, an artist, a filmmaker, a graphic designer, somebody good at computers. I would like to create an animated series, the Vegan's Animal Hero animated series. And of course, donations help too, because we basically give everything away. We give away presentations, give away the books, and we also screen the Heart Whisperer in universities and give vegan food with that. And the Heart Whisperer is for universities and up, really, adults. So we do have everything for each age, you know.
You do.
For yeah. So and help get the message out and share. Social media is something that sometimes it's wonderful if a post goes viral and everything. Well, why not help some of the posts go viral? We have had last year some success collaborating with other organizations with their social media. You know, you can put it out together.
There's strength in numbers, right?
Yes. So we had like 1 million views on one, which, you know, that's like a little commercial that somebody got. And you never know, when you meet someone, you never know at what point in their development that you may be planting your little seed.
Absolutely. Well, all of you people out there that are good in the media or artists or film, you know what to do. You can reach out to Susan at beananimalhero.org because she's looking for help, because we all need help, because there's just not enough people that are shining the light on this most important cause. I have to say,
and also
Susan, it's
universities. Sorry for interrupting you. I'm terrible.
No.
Also, university teachers and university administration, if you would like the Heart Whisperer to screen, which is a 16-minute short documentary in your school, it can be any subject that it goes with, like philosophy, politics, ethics, social change, and law. It really, advertising, it really can, how we treat other animals and how it's hidden, and is a subject that can really be applied to so many different types of learning, advertising.
Compassion should be universal. I think
Yes.
they have a course called Compassion.
Yes.
Well, it's just been a pleasure, and I hope that I get to meet you in person, and I'm going to follow your work, and if there's any way I can help you, just let me know.
Thank you very much, Cheryl, and thank you so much for what you do in getting the message out about how others can help, and to shining light on what people are doing. So thank you very much for asking me on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on the Better Life for Animals podcast. Together, we can create a world where all beings are treated with dignity, respect, and care. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're listening. It helps us reach more people and spread awareness about the incredible work happening in animal sanctuaries. You can also share this episode with friends and fellow advocates to keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep speaking up, taking action, and making a difference for the animals.